to Athletics LLC with Lamar, Lucious, Big League Chew, and my man Clyde. You're about to be schooled in all things track and field. This is experience. Yes, sir. We are talking past, present, future. Y'all listen up. Let's go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Merry Christmas. For those who don't celebrate, happy December 25th, whatever you're doing today, right?
Merry New Year.
So as we go around the tiles, I'm going to ask my lovely gentleman here with me to show us their sweaters, because as promised, we came with our sweaters.
After you, though, Chew. After you.
After me. So
ladies first, absolutely.
Fragile.
Very nice.
I love me some Christmas.
Very nice.
It's French. It's fragile. So best movie ever. Anyhow, Sir Lucious.
Yes,
how
ma'am.
we doing? Yes.
No, I'm phenomenal. You know, I got my antlers going. You know, I got my Christmas tree down here. I got some mistletoe on here somewhere. I got my snowballs. Whatever this is here.
Tinsel.
I got a candy cane.
Look,
and it's definitely the red and white one, not the fruity one, right?
He's strapped for mid-show snack.
I've got my Christmas tree down here, and it just says Merry. It doesn't say Christmas. I don't know why that is, but it just says Merry. But
it says Christmas on the back.
I got my star here, so I'm good.
I love it.
On top of my Christmas tree, so bring it. And to top it off, I got my lovely hat on too, so you know.
I mean, it's
well done, sir. Well done.
So.
Well played.
Well done.
Set it off.
Mr. Clyde. Nope, Mr.
Oh,
Clyde.
I see.
Oh no, Lamar looked anxious. By all means, Lamar looked real anxious. Go ahead.
No. Look. We follow big league's orders. So I'll just.
All right. Well, from top to bottom, I want you to focus. I got the lights here, which I have recently found out can change. You see that? They slowed down. Now they're just permanent, and now they're gone. So I got interchangeable lights. Okay. We got the slogan, 2020 appropriate. All right. We got light skinned Santa, black Santa in the house. And we got tinsels. And then, of course, we got beers on the biceps. Now, I would just like y'all to know there is a wardrobe change coming. I got 2 entries, 2 in this contest. The other 2 be revealed later.
I
see. Well done, sir.
I just have a question.
Way to go.
When do you ever go to an ugly sweater party and change midway, and that counts as a second entry? I just love it. I love it how you make up your own rules, but that's okay. I don't care what you put on; it doesn't matter. You're losing, so it doesn't matter.
Oh no, I'm coming in first and second.
You're done. You're done.
So it's all good.
The antlers win. It's over.
I almost want to ask Lucious what's in the cup.
You know,
right.
I don't have a cup.
Maybe
I should get one. Maybe I should get a cup. I don't know.
You know what? Maybe. All I can say about what I'm wearing for you wonderful people, and you know, I will stand and show you some of it. See that you can see my belt. I didn't want to go any further because I don't fall down, and I don't have my yellow tights on. But all I can say is, Santa! I know him.
And I'm on fire. Okay, here we go.
Elf is the greatest movie ever, and Will Ferrell will never be that good an actor again in his life.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
And I challenge anybody to actually eat a plate of spaghetti with syrup. Because I would never do that.
Don't, please.
I'm pretty sure that's like sacrilegious or something.
Never do that.
If that's not against the law, it should be.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, I can't imagine how much of that Will Ferrell actually ate for that movie, but one bite was too many.
So, what I will be doing is on whatever social media platforms, I'll be creating polls, posting our pictures, and you can vote on these. And for next week's show, we will have the results. And I will go ahead sneak peek. I will go ahead and release those results at a later time, but super fun. And thank you, gentlemen, for participating.
I'll see the candy canes.
I know we don't.
I definitely want you to change because I think then the vote will be split between your two not so good sweaters to begin with. That's just more votes for me, so I'm good.
Hey, I'm good with that.
Because you're not going 1-2, so you can.
I'm going 1-2, and the wardrobe.
Unless you're just gonna go start this big Twitter campaign, feel sorry for Chuck, feel sorry for Clyde, and vote for his two sweaters. You're not winning. So I mean, but it's
the second
Christmas,
educational,
and maybe you'll get a gift, but you probably won't. So we'll see.
Oh my goodness, I love it.
I just know that I think about Christmas sweaters the same way I do quarterbacks. If you have 2 Christmas sweaters, then you actually have none.
Nah, it's a good line.
You got to pick one and roll with it.
1-2. I can't. The other one is too good on the educational front for me not to rock it. It must be rocked. It's coming.
I see. Well, me and my elf frills are gonna just be ready to go.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, you're in last place.
First topic, Big Lee.
I know. No competitive natures at all, I promise.
At all.
Not at all.
Not competition in this group, right?
Before we get started, I have to give a special shout out. I have to give a special shout out to our youngest fan that I know of so far. See if anybody else can come and change this. Micah Peary. What's up, big guy? You were awesome. I loved you giving us a shout out all on Watching with Dad. So, Micah, I hope you're jumping up and down. Micah, make sure Dad votes for your favorite sweater for you. And thanks for tuning in, bud.
The guys whose name sounds best, closest to yours, Micah.
I know, right?
My real name anyway, right?
Merry Christmas, Mike.
Oh my gosh, if that's not scary right there, you just scared him to sleep. All right, moving on to questions. Thinking about the college football playoffs, what do we think of the teams that were picked for them, and who do we think is gonna win?
Go ahead. Tear into it, my friend.
Listen.
I'm listening. Let me clean my ears out.
Right. I'm like,
it's bad.
Focus, man.
It's bad when even the flunkies on ESPN have started to come to their senses. Kirk Herbstreit stepped out and said that they have the worst possible process of postseason play. He is right. He's been wrong forever. He has finally come to see the light. If this COVID situation has exposed anything, it is exposed that the Emperor has absolutely no clothes. This thing is not about the 4 best teams. It's not about anything other than money. So, of course, these 4 teams are there. Who's going to win? Who knows? Who cares? Alabama's probably going to win. They got the better team. I assume they got the most of the better players. Clemson doesn't look as good as they did last year. Ohio State, who knows how good they are. They've only played 5 games or whatever they played. And, of course, for the big money ticket, it looked like 4. Of course, for the big money ticket, Notre Dame is in. Cincinnati got screwed. Cincinnati deserves to be in the fight. Whether they can compete or not, I don't know, but they deserve a shot. And if there was ever a year to give them a shot, it should have been in there. So I feel bad for Cincinnati, the best team in Ohio. They put the second best team in Ohio in the dance, and it's a big fraud. So will I watch it? Probably, because there's not a lot of good TV on New Year's Day anyway, but I'll be taking Alabama for the win. It's all a fraud.
Well, I don't know about this fraudulent talk and about the Emperor having no clothes and all that stuff, but I don't think that you're ever going to get anybody to agree that, no matter what 4 teams you put in there, so I promise you if Cincinnati was in, there's a bunch of people that think they didn't belong. And the thought that you think that Cincinnati is the best team in Ohio is absolutely laughable. Because they're not. Although we know, you don't know, but we know. And look, I give all credit to the fact that the Big Ten should have played more games, but they were the ones that they decided not to play, and then they decided to play. So nobody penalized them for that. So let's not jump on Ohio State's backs because they played by the rules. They beat everybody that was put in front of them. Okay, their league.
The rules.
Hold on a second. Ohio State didn't do anything to the rules. They did not.
Well,
they beat everybody that was put in front of them. Okay, their league just changed the rules to say they could play in their championship game. Okay, so Ohio State did nothing wrong here. So even though I'm not exactly sure that Ohio State is one of the top 4 teams in the country, Cincinnati definitely is not. They have played no one, so I don't want to hear that. Just because they're 9-0. There's a lot of undefeated teams in the country. There's some undefeated high school teams in the country. We'll put them in there too. So junior college teams, whatever you want to do. But let's be real here. Like the way this thing is set up, there's always going to be controversy. There's always going to be this one should be in, that one should be in. We go back to the UCF. They claim to be the national champion because they won all their games that year, right? So when you want to talk about the 4 people that got in, you can't argue with Alabama, can't argue with Clemson. Again, Ohio State beat everybody you put in front of them. Not sure they're one of the best 4 teams in the country, but because of the league they play in and because of the way the whole thing is structured, they get in. The Notre Dame one, do you take Notre Dame, who got, beat by 20 plus points by Clemson, or do you take Texas A&M that got beat by 20 plus points by Alabama? And I think if there's a team that has a dog in the fight here that says they belong in the Final Four, it's Texas A&M, because Cincinnati, that's laughable. That's just no. So, but who's going to win? If I was a bet man, I'd probably bet on Alabama just because it's Alabama and it's Nick Saban. There's just something tells me Dabo's going to have something to say about this. So I'm going to go Clemson and Alabama in the final, and I think it's going to be one hell of a show. And I think Alabama's going to pull it out in the final minute or so.
I agree on the final. I didn't say that. Clemson and Alabama again.
I see. Well, read the question for me one more time too, so I can make sure that I'm giving the proper answer. It's like, did the committee get the right 4, and who do I think is going to win? Is that right?
Yeah, what do we think of the teams that were picked, and who do we think will win?
Okay, so at the beginning of this football debacle, I said, as did many, many, many other people, the 2 best teams in college football are now, and until somebody changes it, will be Clemson and Alabama. They still are. And I think that nobody could, with any validity, make any real case for anybody else to, for sure, be in the Final Four besides those 2 schools. The odd thing to me, and let me be clear, I am not now, nor will I ever be, again, a Notre Dame fan. But the odd thing to me is that of the other 2, Notre Dame's inclusion has come into more question than Ohio State's, when I find that odd, because Notre Dame has the best win of anybody with a loss. They beat the number 1 team and number 2 team in the country. And I mean, that's not arguable, right? They have the.
It's arguable.
They beat.
We won't argue with you, but it's arguable.
Okay. Anyway, when the team was ranked number 2 in the country, they beat them. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is. Oh, right?
Where was Sunshine?
Hey, you know what? They beat them, and that's all I can say. Right?
Okay.
Is that you?
That's fair. You're right. You're right.
You got to deal with what's there, right?
You're right. And they beat the people that they beat the people on your schedule. That's what they did. You're right.
Exactly. And the argument about Ohio State is it's only valid if you feel like they shouldn't have been ranked where they were ranked at the beginning of the season. Because based on where they were ranked at the beginning of the season and the conference they're in and who they played and beat. Now, look, they didn't look particularly good against IU, and they looked much worse against Northwestern. But at the end of the day, if you look at where they started the season, now, if somebody wants to start a whole nother show, which it won't be on this one, they want to start a whole nother show about preseason rankings and how ridiculous they are. Hey, I'm here for that. Yeah, I'm here for that. Because the argument about Ohio State not being ranked where they started, that's a legitimate one. But if you start with where they started, which is all we got, right? You can't really make an argument that Ohio State shouldn't be one of the 4 teams. they didn't play enough games is not a valid argument because the committee poo-pooed that argument before they started the season. I mean, they were talking about putting USC in there, and I was like, are y'all kidding me? They played 4 games. But at the end of the day, that is what it is. The unfortunate truth, to my man Clyde's point, and I've said this for probably 6 or 7 years, but now somebody needs to stand on a table and sing it from a microphone. If you are not a Power 5 football team, you cannot now, nor will you ever, under any circumstances, be in the Final 4 if the CFP only has 4, because they told you that loud and clear when Cincinnati was 6th and on their way to being in the Final 4, and the committee was like, yo, this could happen. We need to put Iowa State in front of them with 2 losses. Absolute garbage.
And Florida.
Right? But once it's done,
we only had 1 loss at the time, mister.
The bell can't
that was before
unrung.
the debacle that we had that same week.
And
leave us out of
no
that.
Question.
Since you want to roll that out, hey, we'll play Cincinnati anytime, any place, anywhere. Just bring it on. Because I do believe that we showed that we're a pretty daggone good football team, and we're going to start that.
I'll say this. Cincinnati's like, look, I'm going to debunk all of the nonsense that's out there. So I'm going to pick up these things one at a time. A, Cincinnati is way better than people give them credit for, but we'll never know and they'll never get a chance to prove it. And that's the fallacy of the situation.
May I interrupt you for 1 second?
Sure.
Based on what is there, are they way better? Because I watched them. Hold on a second.
Nobody's giving them credit for their defense.
Let me finish, because I watched them have to kick a field goal to beat Tulsa at the very end of the game. Since they're way better than Ryan Tate agree. And they were at home.
I completely agree. Look, Cincinnati.
So don't give me this. They're way better.
Cincinnati's defense.
Whatever.
I'm
talking about the guy. I'm talking about the guy with his hands up.
Cincinnati's defense is way better than people give it credit for. Do I think they're a top 4 team? I have no idea. Like, I'll just be honest with you, I have no idea. And that's why the system probably needs to have more than 4. But that we're not going on that road either. We got 4. That's what they said the rules are, so we're gonna play by the rules. Florida, really talented but very uneven.
We lost 3 games. We wouldn't even talk about that.
But that's what I'm saying. But there's people who have talked smack about them. And I'm just like, look, Florida's really good. But at the end of the day, this is what it comes down to.
You call on this guy, please.
There are only 2 elite football teams currently, and they're both going to win their CFP semis, and they're going to play for the national championship again. And it will be a nail biter more than likely again.
Well, see, here's the problem. Okay, so let's not even address this nonsense about Cincinnati. We'll put that to bed. You stop dancing when you talk about Cincinnati anymore. Okay, we're gonna put that one to bed. So the whole problem here is what you just addressed. We're not talking about Cincinnati. So put your hand down. Okay.
You asked the question. I
was talking to Lamar. I wasn't talking to you. No, but
I was being respectful, but Santa and my beard said that I have to get in and answer your question, sir. Here's the answer.
The question was for Lamar, but go ahead and answer the question, sir.
What evidence do we have? The exact same evidence that we have that the SEC schedule is so difficult, because it don't look like that to me. Alabama's great, and then what? So if we just get to randomly say that the SEC schedule is so hard, then we can randomly say that Cincinnati is just as good and their schedule is just as competitive, because you know what? It's all objective nonsense. Subjective nonsense. There is no evidence for any of it. Get them on the field and find out. That's all I'm saying. And I'm out. Go ahead.
Are you done?
I am.
I hope so. So
let's give him credit. He kept that to like 65 seconds.
I'm proud of him. I really am, because I thought that could have went on forever with this guy. But so like what I'm saying here is this: is that the problem here is like who's going to step up and challenge the big 2, right? Like let's just start the individual leagues. Okay, who's going to step up and challenge Alabama? Who's going to step up and challenge Clemson? Who's going to step up and challenge Ohio State? right? There's your issue.
The answer is nobody to the first two, and Penn State in every other year but this year. Now, challenge. You didn't say beat. I think the only legitimate challenger for Ohio State is Penn State.
Okay, but
Penn State has beaten Ohio State, right?
Like, okay, we want to be upset with the people that do the rankings and the polls. The problems with the rankings and the polls is they don't have anybody else to rank. Okay, that's true. Okay, and look, here's the thing. All right, I am not telling you that in a one-off situation, a team like Cincinnati, they'll play pretty well against some of those teams, and they might beat some of those teams. Okay, but the likelihood that you put those teams in those leagues, it ain't happening. And you can make all the faces you want. That ain't happening. It's not.
I'll say this: the Big Ten is so. Look, if Cincinnati had to play Northwestern schedule, they would have had the same record.
Maybe not.
I mean, Cincinnati would. Cincinnati would beat everybody that was on Northwestern schedule.
I'd have to go look at Northwestern.
Now, would they have beaten Ohio State? I have no idea. And a lot of that depends on, to be completely frank, like what Justin Fields shows up.
So then, therefore, you're telling me Tulsa's pretty good then too, right? Because Cincinnati beat them by a field goal on Cincinnati's home field. So now you're telling me not only Cincinnati really good, but Tulsa's
in an ice.
Say again?
In an ugly played in an ice and rainstorm.
Okay, but they were both on the same field, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the sad part is that poor Coastal Carolina literally can't get any mention in the conversation, and they're 11-0.
They are.
Like the system is never going to be based on wins and strictly on wins and losses, and we know that. So that's a irrelevant conversation.
No, I mean this year the committee people actually said the eye test was a big part.
They were national champs because they were on an undefeated team in the country. That's not a relevant conversation. But the problem is with this is that if you want a better system as far as playoffs and stuff goes, then the rest of the teams in the country need to step up and fight the big guys. Just that simple. Or you're gonna see the same people every year. Yeah, same people.
Yeah, I think a move to 8 probably is the legitimate catch-all, but I don't know that it's ever gonna happen. I'll be honest. Because let's deal with the reality. The reality is, right, if you get to 8 and let's say somebody like Cincinnati sneaks in, or God forbid Cincinnati and someone else, right, and then the upsets happen, like what they won't say is what the real deal is. They don't want Cincinnati playing in a national championship. Like they don't want that. Like those rankings are terrible.
Well, see, I disagree, because I think that if there's something like that, it becomes a great Cinderella story. We watch it happen in March Madness. You know, when you get to Cinderella, it starts bumping people off. More people show up to watch that. So I personally think that if a Cincinnati was in an 18 playoff and they got to the Final Four and they got to the final game, it'd be a big story. You know, it's like, you know, I don't know, my man Clyde always likes to talk about that. You know, the feel good story. You know, the little guy versus the big guy. I think you get a Cincinnati versus Alabama national championship game. Oh, everybody's tuning in.
I agree with that. Absolutely. I agree with that. The problem is you will never even have an opportunity to have that happen with the setup the way it is right now.
We've addressed that issue. What we're saying is if you got 8 and we got there, he doesn't think anybody wants to see that. I disagree. I think if that happened, okay, and the thing is like, the way the whole thing is set up, and I don't think it's about money and all the stuff that you guys think it's about. Okay, it's just the way. I don't think it is. Okay, the money is what it is. No matter who's in the daggum games, the money's what it is. It has nothing to do with money. But the whole problem is okay, when you start comparing who Cincinnati has on their schedule, who Cincinnati's signing, because everything that they do is based on how many 4- and 5-star players you recruit. Okay. With your strength of schedule and all this mess. Okay. That's not Ohio State's issue. That's not Clemson's issue. It's not Alabama's issue. So they're going to be ranked higher. Okay. The system, the way it is set up because those people are going to be better. Now, Cincinnati wants to do that. They got to be in a tougher league, or they got to sign a better recruiting class, or they got to have a tougher strength of schedule. Okay. So we continue to bash the people that are just playing by the rules.
I think wait
a minute. No one, at least not here. I'm not bashing Alabama. I'm bashing the system that crowns Alabama before the season starts. Ain't nobody mad at Saban. Ain't nobody mad at Dabo.
How do they crown them before the season starts? Like, you make the face that they didn't crown them before the season started. They might have ranked them high.
The preseason rankings are the number one most fraudulent piece of this whole cake that is already baked into the end result. The preseason rankings are there to prevent different people from moving the way that they need to do.
I disagree with that. See. Okay. I hear what you're saying. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it's conspiracy theory. I just don't. I don't think they're sitting behind they're not sitting in this smoke-filled back room saying we're going to set this up so this guy can't get in. Okay, these rankings are based on the things I just talked about. They're ranked on the recruiting classes. They're ranked on the strength of schedule. They're ranked on the coaches' records. They're not based on we don't want Cincinnati to get in the playoff. That doesn't happen. Nobody sits in a room and says we're going to set this up so and so doesn't get into the playoff. That doesn't happen. At the beginning of the season, when there are 25 ranked teams and 9 of them are from a particular conference, what you have is that when one team beats the other, you get to automatically say it's a top 25 win or a top 15 win. And it automatically takes winning power away from the team who wins a game against this non-ranked opponent. Then all of a sudden, by the end of the year, those teams are ranked, but they don't get the credit for beating them at the beginning of the year. You don't see how that's an elevator to the top for certain conferences and not for others. Okay, then, like I said, the rankings are based on their recruiting classes, based on their coaches, staff's abilities. They're not based on who they're trying to ensure makes the playoffs. That's just not the way. Look, I'm not denying. I'm not denying that when LSU comes out and they're ranked number 5 or 6 in the country, and somebody beats them and they get credit for beating a top 25 team. Now, by the time at the end of the season, they're not very good. I hear what you're saying there. I just don't buy into the conspiracy part of it. I don't buy into the conspiracy part of it.
LSU is
I'm agreeing with you on that.
This year, LSU was ranked 3rd in the nation at the beginning of the year.
What I just spoke about.
They are awful.
Exactly. Well, let me jump in here, and so we can move on. I want to wrap this up with a bow and say one thing. Kudos to Alabama and Clemson for at least doing their part, which is being the 2 best teams in the country, playing everybody, and getting to where they're at, right? So we got a chance. At the end of the day, we got a chance of getting it right. If Clemson can win and Alabama can win, then we played the whole season and we came to the end with the 2 best teams in the country playing each other.
That could be it.
So before we move on, who are our picks? I don't know that I clearly heard them. So Lucious, who is your pick to be the overall winner?
I'm Alabama over Clemson in a nail biter.
Alabama over Clemson.
And we just lost Lamar.
Nope.
Yeah, he's on his way back. He's making a comeback.
So where did y'all stop hearing me?
Okay, you're good.
You said who's your pick? Who over who in the championship?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I believe that Clemson is going to beat Alabama.
I that's possible. Clemson. See, as I said earlier, I mean, it's Dabo and his crew. Like they're good. They have the player. They have the players and they have the staff. And I just think I think Alabama's a little deeper than they are. So we'll see. I think it's a nail biter. I think it's a classic.
Well, their key players are back from COVID and they won't have it for another 3 months. So.
Yeah, I definitely think that those are the 2 best teams in the country, and I really do hope that neither one of them get upset in the semi, so that we can at least see the one game we can all agree upon, which is the 2 best teams in the country playing for the national championship.
But we have to understand that if they do get beat, then they weren't one of the 2 best teams in the country, right?
I mean, I'll let you tell it, sure.
Well, it's hard to call somebody the best in the country if they get beat.
Let's move on. because this is an even better and juicier topic. In my opinion. What happened to the double adventers? For instance, the long jump 100-meter runner, the 1-2 shot disc, combo hurdlers, people of that nature. Where'd they go? Are they with Dora? Just kidding.
Swiper, no swiping. Swiper, no swiping.
Oh man! Wow, wow.
It's Christmas.
So I'm just going to say this. I don't know what happened to him. I know at the collegiate level, it just doesn't seem to be. I don't know. People just aren't doing it anymore. You see a couple of people doubling 1-2, not nearly as used to. The 2-4 doubler. You remember back in the day, the guys that ran the 400 hurdles used to jump in the 800 every now and then. There was always a big time long jump, triple jump guy. Heck, there were guys that long jumped and high jumped back in the day. Even in the distance events, you don't see as many 5, 10, and 15 5-dollars as you used to. I think a lot of it obviously is specialization and people just trying to make sure that they get things done at a high level. I do think that something we discussed before, the elimination of the smaller, competitive meets, the scored meets, has gotten rid of the doublers, because when you do have those meets, your people have to double to get it done. But for some reason, people they even do the shot, which is one of the most natural doubles ever. The shot discus double is not even very prevalent anymore. So I can't really speak to why it happens. I know for me as a coach, I love the doubler. I love the kid with the versatility. I love the one that's, and I had this discussion with someone earlier. Like, we were talking about the me, I guy versus the we guy. And I think, the we guy is the doubler. But I think we have a lot of, we live in a me, I society, and a lot of the athletes aren't willing to double and do things for the team like people were back in the day.
I'm going to take all right. So for me, this is twofold. I think at the NCAA level, especially when we're talking about, because in my brain, prior to championship time, it's all just practice with uniforms, right? So when the conference championship weekends come around, I think you have a lot of doublers. I think there's a lot of kids willing to go out there and do extra events that they typically wouldn't do or wouldn't necessarily attempt for the sake of the team. I think you see that across the country in a lot of conferences, most conferences. But I think the attempts at the doubles at the top are actually a shout out to the level of athletes that are now in the NCAA and the level of coaching that's going on. You have to be amazing to be 1 through 8 at the NCAA championships in whatever event you're doing now. And it's so much harder to be that level of elite, given the schedule, given the time crunch, given the preparation of what it takes to be in those finals. And I think a lot of coaches and athletes have simply decided to take their shot at one event and get those points rather than try to stretch it out and ultimately miss both finals. I think it's a strategic decision at the top of the NCAA. Now, of course, there are examples of people who do it all the time. Flamingo has pulled it off. The kid out of LSU who could jump anything you ask him to jump. Like, there's examples of people who do it and do it well, right? But I think all of that is part of the perspective that bleeds in level to the professional level, which is there's a perception that there's not money in the doubles. There's not financial gain if I try to be the best long jumper I can be and the best triple jumper I can be. I'm not going to get the contract I deserve if I'm 3rd or 4th place in the short hurdles and 3rd and 4th place in the long hurdles. I better just try to be best at one of the two. And so I think to the detriment of the fans, we don't see a lot of doubling anymore, but I think it's all business at the end of the day.
I want to jump in here on something. I think that is if that's the attitude, that's cowardly. And I think that,
but
if you're talking about having better value, how could you ever have less value by being pretty good at 2 things versus just okay at 1?
I didn't say just okay.
Or even if you're good. Okay, because like I don't know who we're speaking of that's opting out of 2 events to be great at 1. And okay, so let's just take the guy I'll take a guy like TJ Holmes. Let's say TJ, he's like one of the top 5 400 hurdlers in the country, in the world, I mean. If TJ was also a top 10 110 hurdler in the world, wouldn't that be beneficial for him? Very beneficial, because now when he can't run the 400 hurdles, he can always go get a meet somewhere else. If you're a top 5 long jumper and also a top 10 triple jumper, so the value of doing them both, you're going to make more money. The problem, I think, I'm not disputing. I'm just telling you how I feel about what was said. So, in my opinion, I think that people paint themselves into a box. They're lazy. They don't want to put the work in. So therefore, they just say, "I'm going to go here because that's what I'm best at." And that's the other problem I feel too, is that people don't want to overcome the adversity. They don't want to put the extra work in to get to the top. So if I've got to go out and work hard at 2 things, it's easier for me to go out and work hard at 1. And I just personally think that if you're willing to put the work in, you could be a doubler. Is it hard? Absolutely. But if you're trying to be the best in the world at anything, it's going to be hard. But why put all your eggs in one basket when you have the ability, if you have the ability to put your eggs in more than one basket and do it well? I don't know why you wouldn't do it.
So my take on this is, I don't know. It's somewhat similar, but I think the culprit is a little differently. I think where a lot of this started was when we had that really bad TV schedule. Not bad, like it was bad to watch. It was bad to try to double. Like the 1-2 was too close to do together. The 4-2 were too close to do together.
When was this?
Oh God, it was when we had when the whole meet was both genders, and I swear it was like in a 3-hour window.
Okay, so
on the last day. I don't.
The format before the current format, NCAA wise, before the gender split, is what you're talking about.
Yes. You mean it was like
where
not the one immediately before, the one before that one.
You mean the one where Xavier Carter went 100, 400, 4x4? That one?
Yeah, that would be
No, that is it. Yeah. So there, look, one freakish outlier does not belie.
No, I'm okay, and I'm not. Okay.
Yes. Yes. You're right though. That's the schedule. So for time frame standpoint, yes, that's the schedule I'm talking about. And so I think a lot of people, to Lucious's point, a lot of coaches were cowardly as it pertains to going through that schedule. So they started to create a coaching model where I just have a person do a 1 or just have a person do a 2, and they figured that out. And then I also think that athletes will do what their coaches and the programs and the normative things demand of them. When I was in school, which feels like the Stone Age at this point, you couldn't be on scholarship and not do 2, 3, 4 events. Like in the 4 years that I competed collegiately, I probably did less than 3 events, like 3 times. And I know, like I was a decathlete, but I wasn't a decathlete till my 4th year in college. So I just don't think that many coaches or programs demand that of themselves in writing the training, or of their athletes in performing the training and then performing at meets. Because the kids aren't any less skilled at doing these things. They all still double, triple, and quadruple at high school meets.
And that's my.
But then they get on college. Then they get on college campuses, and either somebody in their corner says they're not doing it, or the coach doesn't demand that they do it anymore. And like it used to be, somebody had to make you not be able to do a double. Like I'm gonna do the 1-2 until somebody tells me I'm too slow in one of those to do that. That's not the case anymore.
So to that point, and I'd like to ask you guys both this situation, because I've made each of these decisions in the proper context, given the kid who was at talk. If conference championships are over, the kids have run their 2, 3, 4 events, whatever it is they needed to do. They did their job. We got the rings, whatever, right? Now it's time to go to NCAA prelims, AKA regionals. if I got a kid who qualified for regionals, 25th in the 100, 28th in the 200, I might say, hey, man, you know what? We're not going to go out there and run both. We're going to pick the best shot we got to try to get you to advance. Whereas another kid, I may know they're capable of doing both in that setting and roll with it. To me, it's a business decision. It's a situation by situation, what is most advantageous for the kid. And I've literally made both of those choices multiple times, depending on who we're talking about. So, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think, you know, if the premise is we want to be at nationals, in the finals, All-American, scoring points, some people can handle the doubles and in some cases the triples, because there's still people that triple. But the vast majority can't. And the reason that they can't, it's not because they're lazy or that they're weak. It's because that the competition is that elite.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's arguing that, and I'm not telling you that.
Yeah, nobody is.
And I don't think I'm not telling you that everybody should double, but there are people out there that can, but they choose not to, and it's not because of the elite competition. Because this is me. Okay, if you sign a kid out of high school that's 10-2 and 20-60, then he shows up in college and all he runs is 100. I got a problem with that.
Well, that I would agree with.
Right. You know, the kids that come out of high school and they run both hurdles and they get to college, they don't run. You know, like I get tired of people telling me, well, so-and-so ran 40 races last year. Ask him how many you ran in high school last year. 65? Right? So it's like, no, so let's stop with the counting of the races. Let's stop with putting these self-imposed ceilings on people and what they cannot do. You know, Lamar and I had a lengthy conversation when people saw that Ricky Harris was entered into the 400 and the 400 hurdles in the same national championship meet. Have you lost your mind? No, I haven't lost my mind. We trained for it. We planned for it. So, and he was able to pull it off, you know, as was Ms. Demas at South Carolina. You have to have the right athlete. My thing is that the athletes, I'm not saying the lower level athlete that's not talented enough to handle both of them, but there are people out there that can handle both of them that don't even attempt it. Right. It's not just in the sprints, it's not just in the hurdles, it's in the jump and the throws.
And so the question is, why is that happening? And my answer is, it's a business decision based on how elite the competition has become to make these finals at the collegiate level. That was my answer. What you asked me about my opinion, I disagree with that. Because my thing is, I guess if as a coach, that if I'm looking at something, if I got a guy that has the ability to make both finals, it is my job to get he or she ready to make both finals, not say, well, we ain't gonna go there because that one's too tough. That's not a conversation you have on this campus. It should never be had on any campus. I mean, that if I recruit you here as a great 1-2 person, then I'm supposed to make you a great 1-2 person. You know, I think that, you know, we see this a lot in the throws. The doubler out of high school that was an All-American in both events, and they get on the college campus, or you're just going to be a shot putter because the discus takes too much time. And that's where I think that
those are the ones I have the biggest problem with. Those right there.
You know, and you know, because like there aren't a lot of Marquise Denny's running around. There's a lot of guys that do them both from high school, right? Yeah. You know, and I'll be honest with you, that was when Flamingo, during the recruiting process, his dad said to me, I don't want anybody just making him a hurdler or just making him a jumper. What makes him great is his ability to do a lot, and I want him doing a lot. You know, his dad would say to me, Coach, that I don't care if y'all up 100 points, I want him on the 4x4. It's good for him. Of course, Grant didn't want to hear that, but you know, but like I think it's a mindset. And I think it's a mindset that's gotten people in trouble because I think they just take the easy route. You know, and I agree, like the NCAA meet is off the chain. But if you're going to go there, join the party. Don't sit against the wall and watch. Get in the middle of the floor and dance with everybody else.
So what are you lending to the why that is? You're saying
because I think coaches are lazy. I think kids are lazy. Okay. I think kids walk in and go, I ain't doing that. You know? Look, let's be you know this better than anybody else. How many high school hurdlers come to your campus and go, I don't want to run the 400 hurdles?
They try it.
Right? Exactly. That's my point.
It don't work.
It don't work, but they try it, right? You know, I've had kids go hide in the locker room when the hurdles came around. Yeah.
I wish you would.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's the problem is you get the athlete who thinks, well, I just want to be great at the one, and they don't want to sharpen their skills in both. And the coaches can't buy into that. And because of the way we do the athletes these days, they just let people get away with stuff. But I just think that a lot of it is a mindset, and a lot of it is just people being lazy and not wanting to put the work in. Because in order to be great in more than one event, it takes time, it takes effort, and a bunch of focus on everybody's part. You know, I'm not saying that because we've done a good job with it here. I'm saying it because I know it can be done. I know it can.
Agreed. Well, being respectful of everyone's celebrations and whatnots, whatever it may be, we are going to jump cut to our medal predictions. So we will allow Mr. Clyde to be in earshot, hear what's going on, and give his 2 cents while he exits stage right for a moment, stage left, I guess. So we are going to continue and go back onto a roll of our medal predictions. Men's shot put.
So we know we've already decided Lamar was going first.
Yes.
Oh, why do I have to go first?
Because you're the resident expert for the event.
Event guru.
Because you've thrown it before.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. Making this prediction is almost certainly going to piss off someone I know. So I guess we just go ahead and rip off the Band-Aid. You know what? First gut. I've beat this back and forth several times. I'm just going to go with what my first gut was. I think the big homie Darrell Hill is going to break through and be a bronze medalist. I think the super New Zealander Tom Walsh is going to be the silver medalist, and I think that the gigantic human from Oregon is Mr. Jesus. Wow, what is wrong with me? Ryan. No.
Krauser.
Thank you. That Mr. Krauser is going to win. That's what today's gut says. Yes, am I dissing Joe Kovacs? Not really, not on purpose. I think it's going to be really close.
Oh man!
But only 3 people can get medals.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a hard one to argue with, right? Right, Clyde? I mean, it's like, it's like you could take those 4 guys and kind of throw them up in the air and see who falls first, and get out of the way because you don't want any of them falling on you.
Let me say this, and I really, really mean this. I can only imagine, for those that got to see it live and in person, I can only imagine what it was like. But the 2019 shot put competition in Doha is the best thing I've ever seen in this sport from a competition standpoint. It was phenomenal. It was dramatic. It had everything that you would want to see in an NBA basketball game or an NFL game. Like it was perfection. And all of the men that Lamar named, I could make a case for any of them to walk out of there with a gold medal. And I'm fans of all of those guys. And oddly enough, I think like the only thing I take issue with is it is disrespectful to say Joe Kovacs won't come out with a medal. I don't care how you
man, he is the world champion, right?
And that's why I said that. Like I'm not gonna even go the low hanging fruit and say the U.S. are gonna sweep. You want to know why? Because that's so disrespectful to Tom Walsh.
Right. And that would be disrespectful to Tom Walsh. But
exactly.
You know what? I'm gonna go Homer disrespect, and I'm going to predict that Tom Walsh ends up 4th just because the likelihood that I ever run into Tom Walsh is much less than anybody else I'm going to run into.
I see. You are officially taking the path of least resistance.
I am taking the path of
Absolutely.
I just, in all seriousness, though, I mean, Krauser has been on fire in a way and been so consistent. It's ridiculous. I think he can take out that world record, and I want to see him do that. And so I'm gonna say Krauser 1. I like you. For some reason, I just feel like the big homie is ready for that bust through performance.
He is.
I'm calling Hill 2nd, and I'm gonna put Kovacs 3rd, but they all might be within a damn centimeter of each other because it's that cold-blooded. Just like my wardrobe change, Crumpus.
Yeah, Micah, cover your eyes. Micah, don't look.
Cold-blooded. If you don't know who this is, there will be an indication on the end of this show.
Oh boy. Well, okay.
And this color palette.
Now that we got his second entry into this beat down that he's going to take in this contest. I want to say I'm a huge Darrell Hill fan. Just the big homie. That's my guy. I love his energy. I love his passion. I love the fact that not only is he passionate about him, he's passionate about other people. I like Clyde.
And he's a great cook.
Okay, I don't know that about him yet.
No, shout out to the YouTube channel, Darrell Hill Cooking on YouTube.
Okay,
for sure.
Okay, so I don't know that anybody can beat Krauser if he's on. I just don't. I mean, he's just been incredible. Darrell is definitely my homer pick. That's a big, and I'm not changing it for any reason. I don't any way you ever count Kovacs out. He's just gonna find a way to get it done. So I'm with the U.S. sweep. I don't think my man Walsh knows who I am. I hope he stays that way. So. But the other 3 guys definitely know who I am. I'm calling for a U.S. sweep.
So I get thrown out. I'm throwing myself under the bus.
Exactly. Yeah, you are. And so I'm going to say this, that I think it's going to be a U.S. sweep, but I'm not sure what the U.S. is going to win it because they're all 3. They're going to come ready to rock. And I think I can tell you this: if you want to see a show up at the trials for the Shotput.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't miss that.
Do not miss that, because if those 3 don't show up on their A game, they won't be in Tokyo. Yeah.
Lucious, you like how we set it up? You like how we got in and got him out there making that
Absolutely, yeah. Exactly, yeah.
Dang.
Well played.
Yeah.
Joe, I love you. I meant I mean no disrespect. I just had to go with my first gut. Trust me, in one of my machinations, you were the silver medalist.
Yeah, clean it up. Clean it up.
Isn't he the one who's closest
I'm gonna stick with what I said.
Oh, look, I know that you said what I said. I know how you are. I said what I said. I got my
exactly.
Cup, so I'm good, right?
Absolutely. I mean, if somebody really got a problem, come see me.
Oh, okay. Next segment, please. Hey, Micah's watching. Stop it, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Micah. No, you know what? I don't promote violence.
Lamar, that's that kind of behavior is how you end up getting visited by
Krampus.
My man.
Yeah.
Krampus. Anyhow.
I mean, look, in my elf sweater, I will give Krampus the business too.
Oh my gosh. Stop it. Okay. Let's put Lamar on the hot seat.
So I want to call timeout.
Okay.
Before we do that, because we're not putting Lamar on the hot seat. We're putting Big League on the hot seat tonight.
Whoa.
Let's go!
We're throwing the biggest curveball ever. Just get ready. Okay?
I think that's
so
I kid you not, my hands just started sweating.
Okay. So let me know when you're ready.
Oh, we're all in this, right?
Okay. No. If you want to chime in, but I'm ready. You know,
my goodness.
I come prepared.
By all means, you take.
I love it.
For her.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Give me one of these. There you go. There you go. Okay. Who has been your favorite guest on the show so far?
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
It's hot.
Yikes.
It's hot. It's hot.
Yikes. Oh. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
That's
Other
so
side of that hot
hard.
seat. You don't like the other side of that hot seat, do you? You gotta give us an answer though. We're not leaving here until you give us an answer.
It's the whole female crew. I'll be honest with you, because I grew up, if not watching them, but if not now.
One
them.
person.
But
One person.
I'll have to say, I think it's Gail.
Okay. That's good. That's an answer. And we'll we'll address that later.
Yes.
What is your favorite event to coach?
The multis.
Okay. Now.
Why do you make that face? Get off me.
Because when I said that answer, I got blown up.
Let him live.
You got rolled up because you are the multi guy. So, hey, excuse me, I'm in charge here right now, so behave yourself. All right. So now, vacation anywhere in the world, all expenses paid. Where you going?
Tahiti.
Ooh, okay. All right. So now we're at Gypsies.
Ooh.
Right?
Oh, that's why you asked this question.
Are we getting the Hawaiian, the American, or the classic Italian pizza?
Hawaiian.
Okay. I thought that, but I figured
no hesitation.
Okay, now here's the big one. You ready? All right. You're at the club.
Nope.
Right? Okay. You're at the club.
I'm done already.
We're at the club. It's getting hot. Now, I've been told y'all dance a little different in the Bay than most places, right? So what I want to know, are we doing the Bay bounce? Are we doing the thizzle dance? Are we doing the West Coast whizzle? Are we doing the smeezy? Or are we getting stupid? That's all I want to know.
What's a West Coast whizzle?
Hey, I don't know, but hey, it's a Bay Area dance. So clearly,
okay. So this is what I'm doing in the club.
Okay. The Bay
I don't
bounce.
know what the name.
Okay, the Bay bounce. These are your choices. Don't change the choices.
I don't know
The
what
Bay bounce, the thizzle dance, the West Coast whizzle, the smeeze, or are you getting stupid?
This is tremendous.
I don't even know 3 and 4 are.
And you can't do them.
I can't. So I'm getting stupid. I will say.
There you go.
Lucious,
There you go.
Lucious,
Yes.
He gave you an answer. I'm gonna help the audience. Okay. Chu feels more inclined, to be doing like the panoramic or something. She knows. No,
I really don't know what 3 and 4 are. I'm gonna look it up.
The choices
That's the West Coast whizzle and the smeeze. You have to look them up.
I am.
But you're from these are Bay Area dances, and you should know these things, my dear.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
And you are now off the hot seat.
Oh no, she's not. No, she's not. I only got one for you. And
okay.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Well, I mean, perfectly played.
Yes. Who won the versus battle? E40 or Too Short?
I asked that. That was one of my questions.
Yes.
So, okay, for real, there's no answer to this. The Bay one, that's the answer. But I have to say, for product placement, 40 Fizzle knocked it out the park. That dude was lit off his own product. It was so bad.
This is true.
But true story. While it was Too Short's part, and I just ripped. I'm a player, and my kids were like, "Mom, who are you? You know that song? Oh my gosh, you listen to that music?" And I ripped bars off that song.
Further proof. So Lucious.
Yes.
To the example of the dance, like Chu is more inclined to be dancing to blow the whistle.
Yes.
Would need to be than the thizzle thing.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, too. I think I feel like
Well, see,
I concur with Clyde.
but if she's telling you she's gonna dance to the thistle, dance to let her thistle, man. Come on.
No. Yeah, she gave you an answer.
Hey, let her get her thistle on, bro. Come on.
I'm good with it. Good with it.
I can do it. Oh my gosh.
All right. I have one more to add.
Yeah, because when I'm doing my research, I'm like, boy, this is gonna be good.
I'm on fire right now.
What
there was another one called the jumping gig. I don't know what that one. Why didn't you put that one in there?
I don't know what that is.
That's why it just sounded crazy.
Miss Big League Chew.
Yes, sir.
What is the most Bay Area thing you have ever done?
I was up in City Nights at the age of 14.
To my point. Moving on.
Yeah.
Oh, you did not grow up in the Bay if you were not at City Nights when you did not legally belong in there. Oh my goodness. I was in there with a cast on my ankle. I had just had surgery and had a cast on in the club.
City Nights
at 14.
City Nights will forever be the best place to catch a case.
Right.
Avoid City Nights.
And it's still there. Oh my gosh. It's still there.
The one thing I will say about this is, like, being from a very large city and spending a great amount of my life in very large cities, Oakland in particular is the largest city I know of where everybody knows everybody.
Everybody's got a auntie, cousin, uncle.
I mean, like, everybody in the Bay knows everybody in the Bay. And it's very interesting. Like, Oakland is very much like that. Like, you know, Dame, Marshawn, E40, GP, and Too Short, they all know each other. Like, most of those people have each other's phone numbers in their phones. That doesn't happen in any other major city.
Very true.
Wow. That was fun. Thanks, guys. Oh.
My pleasure. I figured I'd throw you that curveball.
Yeah, that was a curveball.
Lucious, that was awesome.
When I asked him about the pizza question, of course, he had to go ask you. I'm like, man, you're spoiling my fun.
I didn't get it. I was like, oh.
As long as he didn't start asking me questions, I figured I was okay.
I just figured I was getting a mail delivery Christmas present. So
I figured that she almost sent her a gift card. Yeah.
I love it. That was super fun. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Now I'm gonna have to take a shower after this. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Okay, so instead of doing heartbeat props, not that we don't love anybody any less or more, we are going to reflect as to what Christmas means to us, and that's how we'll wrap up the show this evening. Saying no disses on any other not Festivus. I'm bringing Seinfeld into it. Festivities of cultures. I'm so sorry. But being that this will be on most people's YouTubes, if not on the 25th, we will highlight Christmas. But respect to Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, what else is there? There's others that I'm losing it right now, so I apologize. But respect to those, and merry holidays to all of those that are celebrating other things than Christmas. But who would like to start out as to what Christmas means to them?
I'll go first. I'll kick this off. I think that, for me, obviously, you growing up, and Christmas has always been about the exchange of gifts and all that stuff. And as I got older, obviously, I was taught and I realized that, it's the birth of Christ, and, God's only son. He sent him here to forgive us for all of our sins. And so my meaning of Christmas for me is to show people love, to show people respect, to forgive people that you may have thought have done you some harm. I take this time of year to reflect, to repair relationships, to strengthen relationships, No, yeah, I spoil the heck out of my family. Yeah, I do. You know, but because of the true meaning of the season, which is the birth of Christ and everything that encompasses that, I try to take this time to show love and respect for other people in the world, and men relationships, whether it's my relationship with other people, or even help people, men relationships between each other. So that's what Christmas is to me. On top of, like I said, spoiling the heck out of my family. So
I'll go next. Christmas. So showing my upbringing. I grew up a first generation US citizen. So my mom didn't come here until she was in her teenage years. And so she wasn't really exposed to what Christmas is here. And even back in China, it was different then too, because we are from a village, not from the metropolitan type cities like the Hong Kong and Taiwan's. Not Taiwan's, Jesus Christ, you know what I'm trying to say. Anyhow, so I didn't really know the commercial Christmas. Like, we didn't grow up getting Christmas trees all the time or having like a plethora of presents or anything like that. We knew that it was a special day because we learned it in school, and my mom did what she could do as a single parent. So, we got $50 in $1 bills, and she spread it amongst 50 boxes. And I was gung-ho about that. That was like lit. We were good. You didn't have to give me anything else besides my C's candy box. It was a wrap. I could go to bed. But now, growing up and kind of seeing it and understanding what the commercial side is and what the actual love of it is, and then choosing to become Christian and getting saved in my 20s, like learning that whole side of it too, just has really brought it full circle, and how it can fill one's heart when the heart is broken. So whether that's because they're going through traumas or because they are just blackened in the heart for whatever reasons, it's all about love and sharing that love and showing the love to those who you may not know or even like, because at some point, just, you've got to be vulnerable and open yourself up. So now having kids of my own, and as Lucious said, spoiling them. And, sometimes I'm like, gosh, dog, I'm shooting myself in the foot right now. But they also have big hearts, and they like to give to others, and they like to show love to others. And so much so that they've decided that they don't want to just do it on Christmas. They want to do it 364 other days of the year. So not that my job is done, but it warms my heart and warms me inside to know that I've been able to impact them at an earlier age. Not that it's a competition with my mom, because bless her soul, she did what she could with what she knew. So Christmas is about love, sharing, honoring, and just being grateful and loving everyone.
Like to go, sir, or shall I go?
I'll go. It's okay. I don't know. I get tongue-tied. Christmas has been a lot of different things for me. And so I'll say, when I was prior to being 16, Christmas was like family perfection. It was the only time that, I grew up in New York City, and a third of the people in my family were civil workers. So never was everybody able to stay for Christmas all day, because somebody had to go work, like working, on bridges, in the subway, or in the hospital. And then my great aunt passed like the day before Christmas, and Christmas changed for me. I kind of thought like forever, and it just became a lot more somber and a lot less joyful. And then life turned for the much more positive. I met my wife, who thinks Christmas is the only time of the year and is like an elf. But more importantly, we have kids, and all the kids in my house and in my life are amazing and bratty and knuckleheadish and all those things. But what Christmas is for me, as far as they're all concerned, is it's an opportunity to really show the people who matter most in my life how much they mean to me, and truly take in the fact that we're all still here and together and trying to make the family unit and the family bond better year after year. So I guess where I'm at these days is Christmas is about spoiling kids and family love and unity.
I'm glad you went first, sir. You somehow we end up on these wavelengths. So my answer is similar. What Christmas means to me has evolved over the years. When I was young, you know, I did not grow up in a very religious household. I'd say I grew up in a non-religious household. Not that my family members and my mother, my father didn't believe in any form of, you know, things like that. This wasn't a big part of our lives. So my youngest memories of Christmas are all about family and traditions. And I didn't obviously know what any of those traditions meant. I just knew it was family time and there was going to be presents and stuff like that. And then, you know, as I was, you know, as a teenager and as early college years, I start to venture out and see how my peers and their families do Christmas. And that turned kind of into a recognition of that family and tradition looks a hell of a lot different all over the world, all over cultures. And it also reminded me or opened my eyes to, especially when I was younger, that my family and my traditions were definitely different and probably pretty broken compared to how some of these other, you know, families got to interact and everybody that was around versus the people that weren't around in mine. So Christmas has always been I've always had an interesting relationship with Christmas, but I have learned over the years to Christmas is a perfect example of how I view the world at large. It is different for everybody. Everybody's cultural experience is going to be different and, you know, eclectic and celebrated in different ways. But at the end of the day, it always gets back to families and traditions. So for me, the holiday time, I don't care if it's Kwanzaa for you and your family, Hanukkah for you and your family, you know, Christmas for you and your family, or just happy holidays for you and your family. Whatever it is, your traditions are your own, and these are things to be celebrated, and it's a time for you to get together with the people that you love the most and appreciate whatever lives that you have and celebrate them. So for me, that's what, you know, Christmas has always been. And in my profession, the holiday time right before Christmas, you know, we're all at the convention celebrating the lives that we have, you know, with our extended track families. So that didn't happen this year. So, you know, shout out to all the track fam that I didn't get to see this year in December. Hopefully we can get back to some kind of normal world next year and get all that done. But yeah, family and tradition, that's what Christmas means.
Awesome. On that note, we will allow you all to go back to your families and back to your traditions and keep the Friday tradition of Athletic LLC.
Hold on, before you sign off.
Okay.
Krampus is an unknown entity. It's not a part of a lot of people's traditions.
Yes.
Assistant coach. The reason that Krampus is in this now is because Krampus is an assistant coach to Santa. I bet y'all didn't know that. Krampus's role is he is there to traditionally scare the children who have misbehaved. And I'm all for that. So if you haven't been doing what you're supposed to be doing, the tradition says that Santa sends his assistant coach to scare you. And that's why we are rocking this at the end of the show. Assistant coach shout out, Krampus is coming to town.
Clearly, Krampus is the throws coach.
You can direct all the shots to Lamar. Throws coach, all the shots are at Lamar.
Joe Kovacs is coming for you, baby.
All right, he on
Love
fire.
you, Joe. Love you,
Oh
Joe.
my gosh. I love it. That was awesome. Well, as always, it's always a great time with you all. And I am blessed to have spent the last hour and a half with you three gentlemen, celebrating Christmas, doing what we do on Athletics LLC. And, you know, we have another holiday next week, so we'll get after it again. But I appreciate you all being, what the heck is that called? Celebratory in your ugly sweaters. Festive. There you go. Oh my gosh. I think it's because I didn't want to say Festivus again. Festive in your ugly sweaters. I don't know why it's on my mind.
Oh my goodness, Jim, you're terrible.
But it was fun. And we even got Clyde to double down on 2 sweaters after he thought he was not going to do one at all. So love it. Look at him. Look at us making people grow.
Clyde was a doubler tonight, wasn't he?
I know. There you go. Look at that.
Well done.
I
Way
like
to tie
it.
that back together.
Full circle, y'all. Well, you all have a great evening. Have a great week. Enjoy that family time. Please take a break. Take some time for yourselves. Regenerate and just get ready to get after it again in 2021. We'll do what we do. But other than that, have a great evening. Happy holidays. Micah, go to bed. It's time to go to bed now.
Merry Christmas.
Go to bed, Micah.
Have a great night, everyone.
Everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Hey.
When the lights come on, the roaches get to running. When the lights come on, opponents mess the plumbing. Heard you like it warm, hot, knife the butter. Truth hit them hard, knock them off that rebuttal. Tsunami, tidal wave to your puddle. Tough love, punch you in the arms, little brothers. Athletics LLC, there's no others. Track and field's pacing, we'll peel to go further. Hey, Wally, Coyote, it's road runners. Feels like you know us, you've been with us the whole summer. If not for this quarantine, these 4 corners wouldn't be here, but we here, so start learning. You gotta earn your stripes, gotta get your scars. Show you how to fight, but show us who you are. You lack experience, but still you wanna talk. And who is actually talking to you? Circle's kinda small. Heads prevail when the backbone's strong. Gotta keep it coming, no, it won't last long. Pass and fail, then sell the sad song. And if you don't check yourself, then that's wrong. Just trying to give you the real that you asked for. So why you keep cutting us off to ask more? We put it in slow-mo, but you fast forward. Athletics LLC, the task force.